Joe Biden has lost his everlasting mind, and the demon crashed.
All right, let's get started. Come on now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hit that like, everybody. Let them know we're here. That helps us out in the algorithm. Why is this not paired? There we go. Excellent. Yeah. Here we go, getting close. Hit that like for me. Yeah. All right, that looks good to me. Hold on. I gotta put on the thing. Let's do it. Oh, gosh. Wait, all right, almost forgot. Going live on Instagram right now. Did it work? Yes, it did. It's always tricky. It's such a tricky thing. Oh, it's tricky. Here we go. Hey, look at that. Yeah, it's good. Welcome to the show, everybody. How you doing? Good to see you. Welcome. It's Monday afternoon. Yes. Whew. That was late for a second, but I'm here. Hello, Scotland. Hello, everyone in the chat and the ever-growing chat that is growing like crazy every day. Hello, and I'm so glad you're here with us. You're all welcome, even you maggots and you strange little fuckers that do know what the hell's going on. You're always looking for a fight where there is none, and you're chasing Trump's draggy ass down the fucking drain. I don't know why. From Scotland, lock up the wannabe dictator. That's right, Nigel. Well, lock him up. Here's my worry, and I'll stop speaking with the Scottish accent out of respect for you. Really. But again, I am like 23% Scottish, and I believe, and there's a healthy mix of English and Irish in there as well. But so with that mix up, I can fucking use any of the accents I want, anytime I want. Like I can bounce the fuck around. I'm allowed, right? That's the thing you got to understand. If you genetically got at least 20% of something in your background, you're allowed to use the accent any time you want. But there's a few of us here. Yes, we can do the Scottish accent though. We can keep that as the main one. But I'm just saying, I'm more Scottish than English. So fuck off, right? You cuntje. And you are Michael Caine. You're Michael Caine, and good for you. I saw a child holding a ruby the size of a tangerine, and he tried to eat it and busted 2 of his teeth. Some men just want us all to get scurvy. All right. That is a weird accent to do with earphones in where you can't hear your own voice. I never realized that till now, because I have a bass. I sound bassier to myself right now than I would otherwise, because I have headphones in, but I don't hear my voice back. So, because it would create a terrible loop that would be a nightmare, as some people have witnessed. And you need Michael Caine's voice is actually quite higher, quite a bit, like tonally it's higher. It's not like pitch higher, but it's much more up in your nose than you want to talk about. And I can't even register that because of where you don't need to know this. This is just I don't know. Hi, chat room. Join me in my silly, worthless conversation about the difficulty of doing vocal sound-alikes with headphones in that you don't hear anything through currently, so that I can hear the other shit. Oh, what happened? You broke the chat. Nice going, chat. Why would you do that? Why would you break the chat? Oh, there it is. You're back. I was worried about you for a second there. You just all disappeared for 1 second. I was like, how dare you? Oh my gosh. Oh dear God. Stop. Make it stop. I'm fine. Whew. Listen, I'll do Sean Connery if I feel like it. You absolute wonk. Eat shit. And learn how to swallow your tit. All right, we got a lot to cover today. I have way more clips than I can go anywhere near. And can I still say that Danny Ball's still on the chicken out squad insofar as the debate not happening, but just totally chickened out. And then, of course, what was the other one? We had one other person that was going to do a debate or something like that. Well, we'll work on it. But here's what I would like to do. If you guys feel like extending it out into the debate bro thing, I'm getting aggravated watching some of the debates that I'm seeing around because of the amount of what I would call pickleball debates that are happening. Like acting like it's a sport, but it's not a sport. I think that was it. Dinesh, yeah, that's true. Dinesh always, yeah, he chickened out. Oh, and Bongholio. Not only won't he debate, but he won't even put out short clips anymore. I'm overmodulated. Do I sound hot? Am I hot? Am I too hot? Too hot, lady. Too hot. Too hot. Oh yeah, look at that. That is better run for cover. Better run for. Gee, it's. So long ago, you were my love. Oh, that's better. Thank you for letting me know. That I don't know why that was overmodulated. We'll see. Got turned up a touch. Hep, hep, hey. All right. That's good. All right. It's a little bit better, I think. We shall see. Bongholio won't even put out short clips because he's afraid of what I'll do to him. That's right. So I have literally made some of these folks panic at the idea of putting out clips less than a half hour long because my show, because they don't deserve the whole fucking show. And if they actually isolate their argument, even they know it sounds dumb. If you go, what was I saying about this particular topic? Oh shit, that sounds like garbage. And best if we just leave it in the live stream and never touch it again. Yeah. Yeah, Bongholio is he's the guy who. We have to thank Bongholio. Can we do this? Like, let me be completely sincere for a moment, ladies and gentlemen. In the same way that we must continue to thank our lucky stars, that the people that were operating and trying to create the Jan 6 Sinsurrection, the ultimately failed insurrection. To those who say it's not an insurrection, you are absolutely right. It is a failed erection. It's the Trump version of things. It's a failed erection that he tried. It is a non-erection, a sans-erection, sans-erection. Yeah, that's what it'll be. I think we found the word. It wasn't an insurrection. It was a sans-erection because Donald Trump was in charge of it. It was a sans-erection, and if you must call it an insurrection, it was of course a failed insurrection. So I like calling it a sans-erection. I think that's how it should be. I am loudish. I think I fixed it, hopefully. It was so weird. My other microphone thing it was being very naughty this morning, and I fixed it, and now it's just being silly again. But we'll be fine. Okay. Okay. As long as the insurrection, yeah. Well, it got him kicked out of office. I think it was like it guaranteed he won't be president again. There you go. So I'm not overmodulated anymore. Audio sounds okay-ish. Do I have compression on it? I don't think so. No, not currently. I do not have any modulation in there whatsoever. It's just not happening. Yeah, checking it. Nope. Well, I tell you what, I will. Now check. There we go. I was checking some settings. Ooh, yeah, that's in the peak. Why are you peaking? I don't need any output gain at all. You crazy? You nutty thing? That's better? Okay. Sorry, I had to check. I had to talk and check at the same time. I know it's no sound. I know. And it's better. Yay, it'll be back. I had to, yeah. So it's in its peaking zone. I don't want any output gain at all. That seems very weird. The mic gain seems very, yeah, that's, okay, now it's too low. Check. There you go. Check. Oh, yeah, see the sound on this thing is turned up to like 100. So let's go up to the mic gain and put it up in this zone. Check 1, check 2. This is fun. This is good programming, I think. This is for a Monday. Who has quality programming like this? Dude, just saying check into a mic. This is fantastic. Okay, that should be better, hopefully. All right. I'm not touching anything else unless it's absolutely awful. Clearly, the deep state has been trying to shut me down. Now, since I've been doing my own version of, failing on here.
Here I am like an idiot.
I think at the very least, we should jump right into... We should avoid Schadenfreude at the expense of other people, of the other party, as much as possible. I'm kidding. Let's go straight to some GOP fails and how it's popcorn time. It is absolutely popcorn city, ladies and gentlemen, because you think I treat the Republican Party harshly. Oh, wait till you see how they treat each other. Here it is. This is Pat. I don't know, Pat your backside. Is that his name? Mayorkas impeachment fails. Are DC Republicans useless? I'm going to, even before then, I was going to go with yeah, but we'll see.
You're talking about the vote that failed to remove Alejandro Mayorkas, or at least impeach him.
Impeach him.
Jeez. They can't even get that done.
I know.
They can't even get that done.
For the record, let me just, if I may, pat your own ass. Even getting that done, this was a huge lift anyways. To impeach a cabinet member we haven't done that in like 150 years. It's ridiculous. So, by the way, his real name is Pathetic. But he runs it all together.
Anyway, Nevada.
Wait, I thought. Wait, what are we talking about?
The final.
Even they don't know. And you're weirded out that the Republican Party can't get it together?
Vote last night, or yesterday, for the impeachment of Alejandro Mayorkas was 216 to 214.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't quite follow because it was
anything
215, and then that one guy, Blake Moore from Utah, switched his vote so that they could do another vote as early as next week. I have not found an explanation for this, but every story I've read has like that sentence in it. I don't get
That's
it.
weird.
I don't know.
So I feel like I could explain the procedure to them, but I kind of don't give a fuck. If you don't understand it, then here's what I would suggest. Call your congressperson, or better yet, one of the like maggot caucus assholes you have on your show on the regular, or that Glenn knows personally, and ask them to explain it to you, or bring them on as a guest, because there really isn't any excuse. I don't really have a backbench of like Democrats that I can pull on here as legal experts and whatever. I'm sure they exist, and many of them are lovely about the idea of eventually coming on or whatever, but I'm busy doing my own show. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm contributing, and interviewing is not part of that contributing. There's a lot of that going around. I have a particular thing. That's what I'm doing. But if I needed to, I could go, okay, explain this to me and everybody else, because I'm not communicating it well enough, I don't think. Or this seems outside even just my knowledge of the rules in a way that I can, I don't have the operation manual for how you bring something to the floor necessarily. But I don't have to do that, because if I needed to, I could figure it out in about an hour before the fucking show. Especially if it was a talking point about why my party did or did not do something. Wouldn't you think? I know, it seems weird. But these guys, fuck it. If they can't fucking write it out on a whiteboard or go, that's nuts. I would argue that that's actually more of it. That's more of the programming of the Blaze, I would argue, is based on the concept of like, this stuff doesn't make any sense. Which a lot of it absolutely makes sense. It isn't even that difficult to figure out. And what you're ultimately doing is snitching on your dumbass and going, this stuff doesn't even make sense. That's if you're dumb. It doesn't make sense if you don't want it to make sense, or you're an asshole. Those are your three options, I think. And in this case, we've got A, B, and C, all of the above.
Okay.
Right. You could ask a follow-up. I don't know.
So they're going to.
This is the kind of programming that you get when you subscribe to The Blaze. That's right. Don't forget to subscribe to The Blaze, everybody. Subscribing to The Blaze. And while you're at it, buy some of their prepper shit, because while you're not understanding the world, it's probably going to collapse around you, and you're going to have to, spend your last days eating fucking baked beans out of a giant, slightly under room temp baked beans out of a giant paint bucket.
Try again? Is that the
Yeah, it sounds like
implication?
Yeah, I think they were going to have another vote on the same thing. That would be trying again. In theory, that's ballpark.
Yeah, because you had 4 congressmen vote against this. It was let's see,
4 Republicans. Yeah.
Yeah. So
if it was,
You actually had more people vote against it than for it. And 4 of them were Republicans. Also, there's going to be one more Democrat added to the Democratic side of the aisle as soon as they have a Santos special election. So now you can only afford 3. And I got news for you. All of them are going to vote the same way.
It's 215 to 240.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
here we go.
Count?
It's 215 each.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers have the Nevada primary statistics written up here, And these dumb motherfuckers can't. You didn't look this up before the fucking show? It's your talking point.
So they.
Sometimes words fail. And all that really tells the story is. Sometimes shit's so stupid, I feel like an alien from another planet where I've landed on the planet and I understand, but my translator is broken, so I can't explain what I'm trying to help them, but I'm just watching them fall like, oh, I hokatono bakan otas ekasaputat herbal brain like cow pie. Oh, no pie, gra gra. Donso gra gra. En haka brego. Bunza ag ach mundaga ho. Stangia sorens. Now I'm going to have some jabroka. It's just how I feel sometimes. It really is. By the way, those of you at home who pointed out that I said Mandy Patinkin's name from Alien Nation properly as part of my alien rant, and that I said I was going to use the drug from the same movie, congratulations. You're why today we will have a T-shirt giveaway in the in the Twitch world at some point. I'll figure it out while I'm doing it. Don't bump in here because I'll get my audio back to me, and that will be a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. All right. Am I speaking Klingon? No, that was not Klingon, but it was fairly close. It might as well have been. All right, here we go.
You made it so Blake Moore switched it to
Roy Moore, Blake Moore, Dennis Moore, riding through the land. Dennis Moore, the man. He gives to the and takes from the Dennis Moore.
Make it 216, 214. But Ken Buck, Tom McClintock, and Mike Gallagher, Republicans that voted against it. I guess the thing that threw them off is Al Green showed up. I guess, I don't know, he left.
Yeah. It was very strange for. It was a shock to everybody that he showed up and, started singing in the middle of it. Actually, it wasn't Al Green. It was Obama. Just when he sings, he sounds a lot like Al Green. I'm sorry, different Al Green. Here we go.
His tour early. I don't know, but he came in and messed up the vote, and so
a long time ago.
MTG. Pat can explain a little bit more because she has a good. Reason that it should pass when this congressperson comes back. Go ahead, Joe.
All right. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Well, I asked for everyone to be able to come inside because it was really cold, but they don't do that. Okay.
Congresswoman, what's your... I asked for everyone to come inside because it's really cold, but they don't do that. You mean bring the press onto the floor of the House? No.
Reactions to the vote.
There's work to be done, you gibbon.
We knew it was going to be close going in.
You knew it was going to fail going in.
Because our majority is so razor thin.
Gee, that's interesting that you would bring that up, since you sure as shit don't act like you have a razor thin majority. I would guess, if I was watching, say, from the outside, that you were under the impression that you've got like an 80-20 lock on the House the way you're fucking acting, It's just, is that me? Or, it doesn't seem like you're acting like the kind of person that has a razor-thin majority where you'd have to act. You sound like, yeah.
Of course, my colleagues that voted no, I think they'll be hearing from their constituents.
Yes, they will. And their constituents will go, why didn't more people vote with you? Because this is stupid and a waste of fucking time. Also, are you going to be at the ribbon cutting? Because you're one of the 3 Republicans who voted for the infrastructure bill, and we're all for it. So this is their constituents. By the way, if you're in, let's see, if you're in Ken Buck's district, I guess, and you didn't vote for him, but he voted against this, then call him and say thank you. You don't even have to tell him that you didn't vote for him. You can just go, good for you.
But we have a plan in place. There was a motion to recommit, and that means that we can bring the articles of impeachment back to the floor.
Yeah, great. Cool. So you can fail again. So what's the strategy here? The strategy is you're going to take a stupid vote that you lost and you want to bring it back to the floor so that the Republicans that voted against it last time can just paint themselves as hypocrites for no fucking reason and go, all that shit about me acting on principle and wanting to get on with the people's business, I was just fucking with you. I'm going to listen to her. Actually, you know what? I don't represent your district. Marjorie Taylor Greene does. Yeah, a vote for me is a vote for her to hijack your district. Thanks. That's how much I give a shit.
Maybe as early as next week. So this is not over yet.
By the way, the noises you're hearing in the background are Pat Gray humping and fumfering around just listening to Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is what I guess it's like when he watches fucking television.
And we still
or eats a boiled egg.
Can bring back Steve Scalise, and we hope that he's well and he can come back very soon.
There you go.
We look forward to having him come back.
And then, and you still don't have the votes. You still don't have the vote. And there is no situation where Santos is a vote. So that's gone. And if you wait long enough for him to come back, Al Green also will be able to come in. So fucking zeroes that out.
We look forward to him being a solid yes on impeaching Secretary Mayorkas.
What's unclear is
where the other votes come from.
If it was 215, could they not vote again? If it was a tie, that's.
Let me fix this for you, fuckwad. Let me just settle this for you. It's an impotent vote. It doesn't matter. If they squeak it by with one vote or lose by 50, it's got the same fate in the Senate. It's not going anywhere. Dude, you are trying to unclog a sink with a Vienna sausage. It is not happening. No matter what you say, no matter what happens, no matter which way this vote goes, razor thin, one direction or another, it has the same fate in the Senate. It's not going anywhere. It's a waste of time now. It was a waste of time last week. It'll be a waste of time next week. Shut the fuck up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. It's like these assholes are re-arguing like the games that happened before the Super Bowl where the losing teams didn't make it and go, well, if they got to play those games again, maybe they could get into the Super Bowl and then it'd be two different teams playing the Super Bowl and then the teams would and then my bet on them early in the season to make it to the Super Bowl would have actually made it. Would actually make me money. This is the same fucking argument. Nobody cares. It's not fucking happening. That's the dumbest part of this.
Weird. That's weird.
That and that it's these three assholes talking about it. This is The Blaze, by the way. For those of you who don't know, most of us associate The Blaze basically with just like the 3 shows that Glenn Beck gives himself a week. The morning show, the daily show, and then his little specials that he does. Whatever the fuck else. Maybe his radio show. I don't know. Like, I don't have a subscription. We only grab clips that they put up. But for fuck's sake, the rest of the time, that's what's on. This is what's for dinner. This is it. These dipshits in a fake basement with cardboard bricks arguing about who knows less about an impotent vote in the House.
Somebody call C-SPAN. Get him on the phone.
Yeah.
I know that Chip Roy and Thomas Massey both voted
to impeach him.
Mm-hmm. And I've looked. I haven't seen Massey's explanation because he's kind of against this stuff. Yeah.
Well, he's against it if you're elected.
If you're represented. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, they changed the rules to get him into office to begin with.
Well, so the thing I saw Massey tweet out was something about how because under DA
who Change the rules to get who into office? You mean because the Senate was blocking all the cabinet officials? Or do we know? Are we all learning something about Thomas Massey and the vote that got him in office?
The Secret Service, and so that's Mayorkas, and he said that he's been obstructing the J6 investigation because Secret Service agents destroyed their phones or erased text and stuff like that, and Mayorkas stood in the way of gathering that information.
Oh, he didn't gather the information that was erased before he took office? This is, okay, I didn't even know they were going to get into this, but can we address how fucking dumb? I mean, we're used to stupid conspiracy theories, but this is fucking magic. These assholes, this is the case, and I've heard this on a dozen different shows argued 7 different ways, but the argument boils down to Mayorkas oversees the Secret Service. And while the Jan 6 committee was together, it became known to them that while Trump was still president, the Secret Service erased some texts in between their devices and destroyed the devices that they were on. And because it's the Secret Service, they really are isolated to this narrow server. They have their own private intercommunication devices, and on those, they destroyed them, so they're actually gone. Now, my guess, there's a real backup someplace. But so far, they don't have access to it, or it hasn't shown up. Or there's nothing there beyond, like, the stuff that they can talk about. Some of it's so super secret because it deals with presidential movement that they don't talk about it at all, because to give any of it would give all of it, and you can, it's ultra super top secret, so that's why they put it aside. But let's just go with the idea that primarily the communications they are talking about were made during the Trump administration. They were erased during the Trump administration. They were, and the devices themselves were destroyed right as they came out of the Trump administration, as they shifted over. As far as I know, January 21st, they just smashed the new device and picked up their brand new one. And after that, because of Jan 6 and all this stuff, all the information started coming out as they started going after Jan 6ers of how much involvement Trump, Mark Meadows, Steve Bannon, and Roger Stone had in terms of coordinating on that day. Not just that he said, come here, it'll be wild, not just kind of turning them loose, but the whole conspiracy itself, including the fact that Donald Trump originally had in his speech, we're going to go down to the Capitol, and I'm going to go with you. And when everybody said, if you do that, you've got to get because it's a campaign thing, even though you're the president, to even say that, you have to get a permit for the parade. If you do that, then of course the Capitol is going to put on more security. Of course they're going to put more, like, soldiers and cops all along the street. And if you do that, it'd be really hard to attack the Capitol. It'll be really difficult to storm the steps of the Capitol and bust in if they're ready for you, if they know you're coming and they know it's going to be a giant gathering. If they're prepared for a giant gathering, there's no fucking way you'll get through. So what ultimately happened, he took it out of the speech, and they didn't get a permit. And then he, what they called, pulled an audible. In the middle of the speech, he said, we're going to walk down there, and I'm going to be with you, and we're going to do this. And when he tried to get into the car and tell his Secret Service to drive him down there, they said, no fucking way. We didn't, if that was in the speech and we'd gotten a permit and all that kind of stuff had happened, we'd have cleared the area and stuff. We're not going to take you the fuck down there. There's probably a dozen people down there mixed in that would like to kill you. So, and we haven't been able to vet it. And you took away all the magnetometers. So God knows how many fucking guns are in that crowd. And there were hundreds, by the way, not to mention knives and bear spray and hornet spray and all kinds of other shit. So they took him back to the fucking Capitol, where he threw a fucking fit, splashed ketchup on the walls, and then watched TV and jacked off as maggots attacked police officers and were trying to kill his vice president. So the story, though, is that Mayorkas specifically somehow is the overseer that is responsible for the Secret Service removing messages from that day, specifically the Jan 6 stuff, about what they said about him on the day when he tried to, like, when he grabbed one of them by the shirt and said, "You better fucking take me down there." And they're like, "No way." And went, "Take your teeny little hands off me." And they took him back to the White House, and he was bitching about that. And the Secret Service around him had communications about, he keeps saying he wants to go down there and all that. They took all that shit and they basically buried it to protect him, essentially. And the idea is that Mayorkas is hiding those texts, which makes no fucking sense. Especially considering these assholes delayed his confirmation and slowed down every transfer they possibly could. So you could argue that they were trying to slow down Mayorkas taking his job so it would give them more time to get rid of this shit. But that's the idea, is that Mayorkas is responsible for Trump's Secret Service detail getting rid of Secret Service texts that day, which they, that part of it, they want to bring up the stuff about on the day when the bomb was found at the DNC, that would have information about it that's not readily available. Yeah, it's just silly.
So, I think he might have...
I don't know, man. Oh, no. I don't like it. I don't like where the things are going. We're supposed to be... You know what it is? I think I'm just tired of winning. That's the problem. That's the problem. I'm just tired of winning. I'm exhausted from being on top of the world in the basement of the blaze. I don't know. Have you ever seen a more whop, 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 wah face in your life? It happens to me and my daughter. Well, then, I guess you have.
Voted with that in mind. I mean, that's a interesting take there.
Yeah, super interesting. It's really... I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it doesn't look like it, but I'm excited. I'm excited about the whole thing. I'm sure the Republicans have something really spicy up their sleeve, and it might have sucked this week, but it's going to be great. Next week's going to be awesome, and we don't have to worry about a thing because it's going to... I'm sure Marjorie Taylor Greene's got it together, and it's going to be awesome. It's just, I don't know if the winning is part of the... it's just, oh, God. Can you just wake me when Mayorkas gets impeached or leaves office at the end of Biden's second term?
Because you think of just the border being lawless is reason enough to impeach him. But bottom line is, even if it gets...
Well, if it's lawless, then literally I think you would impeach the... I think you would have a case for jailing all Customs and Border Patrol people, wouldn't you? Yeah? Because they haven't gotten a direct order from him. There's no paperwork that says they said don't enforce our laws. So if somebody's letting these people through and it's just lawless down there, then I guess you're blaming the Customs and Border Patrol, right? For dereliction of duty? Is that... I mean, I don't know why. I think that's what you should do. I think these guys should just come out and say it and say Customs and Border Patrol is committing law enforcement malpractice. Oh, sorry. Did I actually trigger a real yawn, DB Golding? I apologize.
So the House Senate's not going to convict? Right?
No.
Nah, that's not going to happen. That's not... You just know things are going well when you're resting your elbow on your mic stand. Oh, that's impressive. This is, tell me, we need a body language expert in here to tell me just how much giving up this guy has done in his life.
They're not going to.
I mean, I appreciate it. Like, he knew the news was going to be shit that day. That's why he wore a shirt that would blend into the background. Jesus Christ. For a second there, I thought he tried to, if he had a hoodie that zipped up, he could just sneak into the room and just,
won't be removed, but at least he'll have been impeached. I mean, that's what they use with Trump all the time. Twice impeached! Twice! He was impeached twice!
Right. And the only reason he wasn't removed from office is because he'd already been voted out.
In what?
The second time.
Term twice. Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Well, if it's an impotent phrase and it doesn't matter, then why try to do it? Why give a fuck?
Nevada. Now the Nevada primary last night was fantastic for Nikki Haley. Well, she got a little bit embarrassed. Well, okay, she was a lot embarrassed.
That is hysterical.
Well, she wasn't even on the ballot. Though,
None of these candidates.
He was.
No,
she was.
She was.
Trump was not.
She was, and I believe Mike Pence.
Oh.
Donald Trump was not, which is why none of these candidates won. Well, with almost 63% of the vote.
That is
63-31.
Yeah, it's almost like the Republicans' Nevada system is garbage, is goofy. Let me explain something to you. If you're running on the concept that government can't do anything right, and it's all bureaucracy, and nobody knows which way is up, and you need me to come in there and fix it, here's a good idea. Don't have a primary and a caucus in the same fucking state. If your own party shits the bed like that, why the fuck would I want you running the government of my country? Does that make any... Oh, by the way, yeah, the white balance in this room is terrible. They're pinking it up so that Pat Gray doesn't look positively ashy. But let's be abundantly clear. All this is a sign that Republicans don't fucking know how to run anything. They don't even... Not only do they have no interest in functionally running the government of the United States, they don't even want to run their own fucking party well. Oh, and that's, Dr. 13, that's a 6.3%. His point is very small, which is, I think, on brand, in all fairness.
None of the above.
That's awesome.
So more than double.
How great is that?
That's so great. We'll say the best. I will say, while everything we wanted to happen didn't happen, at least the thing we didn't care about looked funny to us, even though it really didn't do anything either. That's why we're the party that should run America, because that's how much we hate America. And by the way, the description on this video, understand what we just watched. Okay? Just real quick. And then here's the description. The border crisis is real, in all caps. And this administration is trying to erase the America we love. I don't know why erase is on all caps, but sure. Once again, House Republicans aren't able to come together and actually make us proud. Well, I think the lack of pride for yourself. Pride cometh before the fall, so I don't even know why you're interested in pride. Aren't you guys against people when they march with pride, for example? I thought that was a bad thing. But anyways, Alejandro Mayorkas, which I appreciate they actually wrote his name on, Homeland Security Secretary, survived another day after the motion to impeach failed in a 214 to 216 vote. Isn't that funny? The actual count that they were looking around and couldn't fucking figure out was actually in their description of the video the whole time. It's in the show notes. That's funny. In which 4 Republicans voted against it. Why is the GOP incapable of getting the job done? Are we going to see Secretary Mayorkas impeached? They are incapable because they hate the idea of organizations and government and function, because it is antithetical to who they are, and they're a bunch, but basically anarchical, sovereign citizen assholes who their dream gig is Waco, and their dream family is Ruby Ridge, and that's why. And also, is Secretary Mayorkas going to get impeached? No. Yeah. Sorry. Somebody said, think of you just said how their own party. Yeah. Think of what you just said, how their own party. Yeah. It's their own party. They don't want to govern their own party. Super fun. Now, Glenn, apparently, Pat Gray has been filling in for Glenn. But I mean, I've got a bunch of stuff. You know, here, we're going to jump over to Lindell TV, where money is being made and spent. This is over here. We got this is Will Johnson on his show. Let's talk about it. We're not going to do anything about it, but hey, let's talk about it. We're going to talk about it. I want to talk about it. You want to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Hopefully sex is not the topic because it will be disappointing for everyone involved, I think, pretty much. Okay, here we go. This is, I got to turn his audio on. This is very short. And the title of this is Confirmed Biden Has Lost His Mind. Now, before this man begins speaking, I want to remind you that he works for Mike Pillow.
Joe Biden has lost his everlasting mind.
Ever-loving mind. His ever-loving mind is the phrase. Or fucking mind, which is another way of saying, in my book, ever-loving. Anyways, everlasting mind would be, obviously, you can't, I guess you're saying he's not demented, that he doesn't have dementia, that he's not senile because he has an everlasting mind. Okay, cool. After that, it's a minor fuck up. You know what I mean? When you're attacking someone for verbal flubs, keep those to a minimum. I'm sure this is the last one we're going to see happen to anybody.
And the Democrats are all scrambling right now. Oh my goodness, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Oh, and I think he said Democrats, which I guess that he means me. And as a Democrat, is it? Let's see if I can, do I have a, let's see. Yeah. Yes, you're obviously talking about me. Yes. Please go on. As a Democrat, I'm upset. I don't feel upset. But yeah, you know me better than I know me.
We're handing this to Trump on a silver platter.
Handing what to Trump on a silver platter? Biden's ever-loving mind. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm not able to think. These horns are too heavy.
You know what's really interesting is that.
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I like to think that I do. I mean, I try to keep things interesting. You know what? That's the interesting thing to me is that things don't even have to be interesting. I can just make them that way. It's called wit, and it's spontaneous.
That everything that they've been doing to President Trump has actually backfired on him and is coming back around to roost. Like.
I see. So it's inefficient, but the target is the same. I see. So it backfired on us, but it's coming back to roost. Okay.
The hens come back to roost.
The hens coming back to roost. Okay. I don't know. Something about bird brain.
Think about this.
I'm trying. I'm really, really trying.
The documents that President Trump took to Mar-a-Lago with him.
Uh-huh.
As president, you have up to 5 years to go through those documents. Yeah.
No, you don't. You do not have up to 5 years to go through those documents. You don't get to keep, no president gets to keep whatever classified documents they want for 5 years on their own property without telling anyone or hiding them. No. I don't know where he got that from. He'll probably go something in the Presidential Records Act or whatever. I think it's like they've got 5 years to get you your shit for your library.
5 years. 5 years. To go through the documents and hand them over to the archives.
No. Not if they're top secret. The top secret documents aren't about being archived. Okay? Archived documents are your own personal notes or those kind of things, or in the case of like George H.W. Bush's journal or something like that. And if you want to believe that, then why was there a Sox case in the before he left office, essentially, or like right after he left office with Clinton? But it wasn't. They didn't wait 5 years to ask for the tapes back of Bill Clinton's conversations with his biographer. Just silly. This is just silly. That's not based on anything. Just made up. It's Gonzo's birthday? Wait a second. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gonzo. What's up, man? How you doing? Hope you're well and you have a great holiday, family holiday, and you're all hanging out and having a good time and you have cake and everything else and stuff. Happy birthday to you. All right. Thank you very much. All right.
They keep saying that President Trump wasn't cooperating.
Well, no. I mean, initially he wasn't cooperating. Now we know he was conspiring to keep the things illegally.
Which is a bunch of BS, because remember, the FBI showed up to President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home not once, but twice. This is just a recap for those that don't remember this.
Right. They were there to pick up stuff legally the first time, and then he hid more of the stuff. I'm sure he'll bring it home. It's just, we got a minute left.
The first time they showed up, they said, Mr. President, everything is in order. If you would, Mr. President, just put a padlock on this door.
No, oh dear, my friend. No. The FBI does not show up and say, put a padlock on something. First of all, that wasn't the FBI you were talking about. That's the representatives from the Justice Department and NARA. It wasn't the FBI. And the idea is that you're going to go through your shit, but that you've got these things stored in an unlocked room. Please put another lock on it, and we'll be back in 2 weeks to get everything that's classified. You'll have somebody on your staff go through it and pull anything else that isn't there. We got a list of things that are in there. We would like you to, we're pretty sure you have them, so check them off, and here you go. And then that's when the conspiracy and stuff, like, this isn't even close to the truth. I mean, this is kind of, yeah, as programming goes, this is exactly what I would expect from Lindell TV, though. I gotta say, today's phrase is on brand
for these particular documents that are here.
You mean the classified documents he didn't have a right to? Why did they even come there in the first place? He's got 5 years. Why didn't he just tell him, you're 4.5 years early. Go fuck yourself. What lock?
Put him on the door.
What? They don't trust it with the president who has the right to have them for another 5 years?
Right? You remember that?
Yes, but I also remember that, like, Inna Yashishin was coming to Mar-a-Lago posing as a Rothschild, and there was, before they had even done that, and she had access to that room, and there was a copy machine in the fucking room.
And then they raided his home again because they could not.
They didn't raid his home at all. They had a lawful search warrant. Nobody came in through a fucking skylight. Nobody fucking rappelled into the place. It wasn't the end of Christmas vacation. You fucking dunce. They served a search warrant. Why would they have to do that if he's got... I don't understand. I got 4.25 years left.
I find the documents that, what I believe, and I said this yesterday, that exposes all of them.
All of them. So they came there. They raided Mar-a-Lago, according to you, the president's rental property that he had public gatherings at, where top secret intel, including human intel, which would give away one would think, the names and identities of spies or sources we had in other countries, dangerous countries. And they came in there. There was all that shit there because he had the right to have it for another 4 years. But they took out all the stuff that incriminated them. That's all they took. Okay, so what are they showing him in the skiff in Florida, which was what the meeting today was about? I'm sorry, I forgot I was talking to a crazy person.
Exposes what the FBI been doing. Exposes what the federal government's been doing.
So he was just hanging on to that stuff. He wasn't telling the world what they were doing? No? So let me get this right. After Trump left the White House and he was no longer president, and he was, I guess, in this thing where he was gonna, I guess, maybe get magically put back in or something, but he was just hanging on to these documents and he wasn't telling the American people. He was golfing. He was having meetings with the Saudis. his son-in-law and his daughter were signing a deal with them. And so he was keeping what he believed to be incriminating documents about what the FBI was doing illegally secret from the American people so that he could what?
One has these documents, and they're saying that President Trump has the documents. He's the one that he has to have them. And they keep going to Mar-a-Lago, and they can't find the documents that they're looking for.
Oh, dear. Okay, real quick. They found the documents they were looking for. They didn't find all the documents that they were looking for because he flew a bunch of boxes up to Bedminster, and they trusted his lawyer to look through that space, and they have not served warrant on that. Also, there was a locked closet at Mar-a-Lago in his office that was hidden that they pretended they didn't have the key to, and Trump actually left town with the key. He's the only person who has it, so that nobody could get into it without breaking into it, and he knew that they were probably politically afraid to do that, so it could. I'm just saying. Throw this out there that maybe the reason they couldn't find some of the documents is because he stole them and he's still hiding them, and because they didn't. I don't know. I'm gonna throw it out there. Exhume the coffin his ex-wife is allegedly being buried in, even though she was cremated after falling down a flight of steps. Or as we like to call it around here, the Russian flu.
This is the reason why they're saying that President Trump is not cooperating, because they're saying President Trump has documents that are not in his possession. And they're saying that he's not cooperating because he won't give them the documents that he don't have.
Okay, sorry. I was trying really hard. I was trying to take this seriously and address this. Now I just got stuck in the boomerang chicken, the hens coming home to roost thing. Okay, first of all, he doesn't have some of the documents anymore because they were taken away from him. He's asking for access to them in court today, so that I guess he can argue that he had a right to some of them or some shit like that, but he wants to look at all of them again and take notes, which they won't let him do, so that he can sell the notes to a foreign power or use them to leverage, loans or aid from our enemies at home and abroad, I suppose. And I guess maybe use some of that information which they took back. He can get access to looking at it to maybe there's like some dirty pictures of what the FBI has been doing on their weekends, and he just wants to sketch out what they're doing, and then he's going to blackmail them with the sketches. Sorry, this is so stupid.
Make it make sense.
I can't. I cannot. I tried. I really did. The whole video. I really was trying, sir. I really was, Will Johnson. I gotta say, and I'm good at making shit make sense. I really am. But this doesn't. That's the. I can't get you out of. I can't get you out of the box you've packed yourself in. I can't do it.
Make it make sense.
No, I'm not going to. I will. Now I'm mad. Now I'm being belligerent. I refuse to.
Now, I had a whole bunch of videos that I want to share with you. We are going to take your phone calls. It is Friday, so if you want to give me a call to talk about this insanity, how the Democrats are losing their everlasting minds.
He had to do it on the way out too, didn't he? He had to. With 3 seconds left in the fucking video, he had to say everlasting again, didn't he? They're not gobstoppers, you dumb motherfucker. It's ever-loving mind. It's your ever-loving mind. God damn it. Or your fucking mind. One or the other. And obviously, because it's Lindell TV and everybody's a faux Christian over there, I get it. Your ever-loving mind. The phrase is ever-loving. Now I got to call this motherfucker on his show and try not to swear when I go, okay, the phrase is ever-loving mind, not everlasting, you weirdo. Secondly, I would love to try and make your gibberish make sense to you, but it doesn't. You can't polish a turd, sir.
they've kind of already lost their minds. They really have.
Well, I mean, they've been listening to you, so I guess maybe that'd be the cause. Also, I guess we're going to have to hunt down this guy's number. I'm going to have to, if he's going to take calls, I might have to call and ask. I have, if I may, sir, I have some notes. I have no idea when he's on, but we'll find out. Ladies and gentlemen, Will Johnson and the Brain Trust at Lindell TV. Now, I think Steve Bannon talks to... Oy, God, that's awful. Sorry. Yeah. Meanwhile, can I just say, Mike Pillow looks like shit. This is not going well. Now, you will recall early on that I was fairly sympathetic to the possibility that Mike Pillow was a dopey, dough-headed fuck who just got suckered into supporting Trump and was just silly. Like he was just simple, really. And then after we heard him during his deposition, where he was saying lovely things like
"lumpy pillows, kiss my ass,"
and calling the lawyer, right? That we're like, oh, okay, yeah, he's a dick. Also, he could have recused himself or removed himself as CEO from his company, therefore not causing any damage to MyPillow. Had somebody in his company doing the ads while he ran around and did his other shit, but he didn't. He decided to go all in and use MyPillow to finance Steve Bannon, even though Steve Bannon makes fun of him right to his fucking face all the time. He decided to drag his employees from MyPillow kicking and screaming into this shit. Okay, but this doesn't look good. Here we go. This is Mike Lindell answers how we prevent another steal in 2024 is the title of this one. What do you think? Another Cyberama? Think that's how he's going to do it?
Mike Lindell. Mike, you got a big award. Oh, I saw these videos, President. What happened on Saturday night down in Mar-a-Lago? You're hanging, Mike. You know, we're populous here at the War Room. We know you're populous. My pillow, my store.
What the fuck? He got the Scary Eagle Award from Donald Trump. That's the eagle that scared Donald Trump. This is they do this every year, and they give out an award to everybody at. Sorry if it's loud. I'll bring it down a touch. They for those of you who don't know, hold on. Let's see if I can. I'll find. Yeah. It's based on this guy. This is the You're Scarier Than an Eagle Award. Brrr. So it's true, animals can sense evil. So Mike Pillow won the Scary Eagle Award. This is what Donald Trump gives out to people that make him nervous. My pillows came in the mail today, and they're not those pillows. I see. Those aren't pillows. All right.
You're a populist.
Yeah, he melted his fortune down, and that's what's left of it in pennies. They took all that's left of his fortune in pennies, melted it down, and made that statue of the Scary Eagle.
Given the little guy a break by creating a huge platform to compete with the Chinese, with was a Temu, the CCP, and Mike doesn't keep your data.
Oh, you mean the My Store thing? Yeah, we have Amazon, fuckwad. And what do you mean doesn't keep your data? Of course he does. And by the way, I think that he's making fun of him. That's another. Look at his face and look at Mike Pillow. He knows he's shitting on him.
But you got a big award down in Mar-a-Lago, and the crowd, that was pretty awfully, sir.
Yeah, they gave me, I was very humbled. It's the Patriot Award for 2024 American Hero by the Trump vets in USA. So I was very humbled. I got to do a good speech and get him.
Yeah. all it cost me was my entire livelihood.
Everybody on board with securing our election platforms, and it was a great response. Everybody's going, the questions afterwards, Steve.
I don't know if there's a light hitting his Adam's apple, or he was just like they were painting nunts at Mar-a-Lago, which I guess they do. That's a big thing, is have your, it's like body painting, but they paint your nunt to look just like Trump's or something. But it's very distracting. I'm sorry.
Just kept coming up to me going, are we going to get our election secure in time? And I told them the hope. We've got so many counties now that are committed to paper ballots and counted.
Yes. All of them are counties with less than 140 people in them. But don't let that, it's really about the land, not the people.
I told them about the Lindell plan, to go to lindellplan.com.
Yeah, did they? Oh, you told them about it? You told them about Lindell plan? And that there's a website? And they went to the, and what'd they do when you said, go to my website? Did they look at you like, what? Why are you being an ass? We're Mar-a-Lago. I'm here too. Fuck, I paid to be. What the fuck? Go to your website? Fuck are you talking about? And then they grabbed you by the throat and squeezed it like it was elbow skin. And then now you have this thing.
It was a great night. The president came up to me and we talked for a little bit, and he
grabbed you by the mustache.
I'm staying in Mar-a-Lago right now, and we.
Really? Honest to God, I was just about to make a Ramada joke about you being at the Ramada. You're really? That's a Mar-a-Lago room?
Yeah. Hope to see him again.
Oh fuck! Is that a painting? That's not a painting of Mar-a-Lago on the wall of Mar-a-Lago, is it? That's terrible. Oh my God, what place is that? That's our house. Yeah, it was foggy when you came in, so that's it on a good day. We've got a picture of it in every room. You have a picture of the outside of your house in every room of the house. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Isn't it nice? Isn't that good? So that if you ever been inside something and you want to see the outside, I've never felt more like that in my life right now, ma'am. Thank you. Well, I'd really like to see the outside of this building, and then an Uber, and then an airport. I'm going to get milked. I'm going to get the fuck out of here.
This week, and maybe get to a couple of rallies.
Oh yeah, that's the best thing about the Florida rallies, is that you don't have to go very far. That's why Trump likes them.
I wanted to, by the way, I'm gonna try to get Wendy Rogers, some of the other people, Forever in Arizona. There was a bill passed and signed on Friday. We're gonna have people explain it, and then some people maybe have issues with it. Other people think it's terrific.
Great. Sounds awesome. So, yeah. Lightning. I thanks for doing that tease. Now I really know what I want to watch. So there's a piece of legislation that passed, and some people like it, and some people don't like it, and some people think it's good, and some people think it's not so good. Really? You don't say. In a democracy. Weird.
So we're going to do that. I think we're going to try to pull it off in the 6 o'clock hour today.
Great, thanks. Super interesting, but my I gotta say, my intellectual dick is turtling right now. Get on with it.
We're going to get a lot of different opinions on this, and
Jesus Christ. I owe Pat Gray an apology. I never thought anybody could be more boring than that segment.
What's happening going forward.
You do realize you've just confused Mike. I hope you're happy. Look at him. He doesn't know where he is anymore right now. Look at him. He's just happy to be at Mar-a-Lago. He just told you he's going to rallies, and then you bring up legislation that passed that he had nothing to do with, that might be good and might be bad. Look at him. Look at Mike. Look what you've done to Mike. Look what you've done to Mike's face.
We are going to be covering the Senate pretty much nonstop. So 6 o'clock tonight, and we'll get some scheduling, get some good people in here to talk about this. When people ask you, Mike, the focus is, and their big concern is how Trump is everywhere ascendant. You see the math, you see the demographics, you see it's all going our way. How do we stop it from being stolen?
paper from, yeah. I don't know. People go to lindellmustache.org.
We get to paper ballots hand counted. We have a great.
That's right. Yeah. What happens if people have 3 hands though? That's my worry. You know, that you got to wonder about that. What if somebody has more than one hand? I met a guy like that at a fair. Never play cards against a guy like that. I'll never do it again.
Plan laid out, and we have over 300,000 people in all 50 states, and we're rolling everything.
300,000 people in 50 states. Carry the 2. They're all registered to vote. Only half of them are. So some of them are kids, obviously. Try to. 0.01% of the electorate.
Through in March, and we're basically approaching every single county in the country again with a new sales pitch.
What? We're going to start from scratch? Fuck me.
We have so many things we've learned in the last 3 years,
and none of them good.
And like I said, we've got over 200 counties committed. We're going to
200 counties. That's almost 800 people.
To get more and more and more. They just have questions, and we have all the answers for them.
That's right. That's and our answer, of course, is go to Lindell Crime Plan Election Fraud Beater.org.
And we want to get to what the RNC put in their resolution, which is paper ballots hand counted.
Hand counted by obviously people with 2 hands or less.
Same-day voting, precinct level, and signature required. Yep. And we'll get every county as the best it can be before 2024.
Not every county, but...
And we're going to just put everything we can into it. And you can check it out at lindellplan.com, everybody.
I could. I'm not going to, but I could. You're right. I could. I could do that. I could do that. But I got, cracked this morning.
Check it out. And it really is a great plan, and it's working.
Yeah.
We just had great things come out of New Hampshire, where over 25 towns now are on the ballot in March.
New Hampshire towns, they're huge.
To get rid of the machines, go to paper ballots and count it. And we're going to...
Mike, did you mention paper ballots hand counted? No machines?
Have all hands on deck for every election.
On what?
Every election leading up, small, big, it doesn't matter.
Kind of does matter. Actually, it does matter. The small ones, not so much, but the big ones definitely matter. I mean, obviously, yeah, just as you go.
Leading up to 2024, we have great examples where we've used our paper ballot hand-counted system in Osage County, Missouri, over a year ago. So we've already used our own system here.
Yes, things have been hand-counted before.
And it worked. Democrats, Republicans counting together, and it got done the same time as the machines with 100% accuracy.
I don't... Wait a minute. How did I miss this? You're trying to tell me... Wait a second. Fantastic. How in the world... I am not Turd Ferguson. Stop it. How did they have a man versus machine and it was a tie? I gotta say, yes. And what's the system of hand counting? Start at the thumb, end at the other thumb? No feet. Shit.
So we have all the answers for these county clerks and these...
Yeah, you do.
...that are in charge of our elections. Most counties in this country...
By the way, for the record, stop for a second. Pause for a second. Let me go back to... Let's just stop for a second and understand that system of hand counting started at one thumb and ended the other. That's some hot shit. That just came out of my face without even thinking. And I'm so happy that There's moments when you're improvising and something comes out of your face and you're like, what? This is why characters are so good, because they think in ways you can't possibly. I could never be that dumb. Okay, all right. Anyway, sorry. Back to where we started one thumb and stopped at the other. Oh shit. I'm fine. Oh God.
Country, you can go from the county up. There's very few states where it's Secretary of State down. So
you think?
We're working hard in every single state and county. And
yeah. Working hard. You know, the poor man's working smart.
And we're not.
I think you are dumb, actually. If I heard you right just then. Oops. Hello. Turn up my mustache. All right, here we go.
We're going to have this election secure and going forward for our country. This saves our country, everybody. It really.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. It does save our country. Yeah, it does. It saves our country. Yeah, I mean, if that's your idea of a good time,
it does.
Mike, so the Congressman Miller sent a letter to CBS saying she didn't think it was appropriate to have a Chinese Communist Party apparatus, advertising on the Super Bowl.
He's talking about the Temu ad.
She got blown off. That was Temu, which is a total CCP company. Remember, this is information warfare. This is what TikTok is doing. Now they have Temu. They want.
It's not the same thing. Temu is just them trying to offload a bunch of shit that they have because they can't sell through Alibaba because people are onto it and they're just trying to dump shit. Hey, Gonzo.
To get all your information. Walk me through. I got to bounce, but walk me through quickly my store.
Yeah.
No. I'm not in a fucking 6-minute and 43-second clip. I'm not going to let you stop at 4:39 and sell shit right after shitting on Temu. By the way, just for the record, everybody, don't use Temu. Do not. You're welcome. If you're going to buy something, go get Alibaba or AliExpress. You're going to buy something from China, do it that way because it costs them more. Now, the interesting thing is, I just saw this story. Let me see if I can find this. Is it... see if this comes up. This was pretty hilarious. This I got. Okay, so Temu is one of the ways that China's basically getting rid of stock. They're just trying to dump shit that they have no orders for. Check this out. This is I enjoy this. Why is Temu so cheap? It's losing billions. That's why. The Chinese retailers shop like a billionaire strategy is proving popular, but expensive. How long can it go on? If you're still wondering if Temu is legit or not, then a new report shedding light on its rock bottom prices and overall financial health is something you'll want to read. Despite smashing its U.S. sales targets, the company's bottom line suggests it's set to end the year $3.56 billion in the red, meaning the real reason Temu is so cheap is because it's losing money. Since entering the U.S. market, Temu's minuscule price tags and promise of free delivery propelled it to the top of the U.S. App Store. However, it's uncertain whether the company's loss leader strategy will secure its success outside of China in the long run, especially as criticisms over its product quality and data collection practices continue to mount. Here's what the latest figures reveal about why Temu is so cheap. Temu loses $30 on every $9 sale. Just for the record. And that's with the fact that China still has developing country status trade-wise with the United States. And yes, and they are scooping up your data. Nothing is safe. There is no firewall between Temu and Temu equals modern slavery. Yes, that too. There is no firewall between your data and the Chinese government. None. Just for the record. So, Temu! Yeah. Temu. That would be funny. Just do the Temu ads, but use the Timmy thing from South Park. Temu. How new findings reveal that sky-high sales numbers aren't necessarily translating into profits for the e-commerce retailer. Wealth management firm Sanford C. Bernstein estimates that while Temu made around $13 billion globally this year, it may still be incurring a loss of $3.65 billion. If Bernstein's estimates are correct, there's no denying these are massive losses. However, the researchers also point out that the company's losses may shrink to $1.9 billion by 2025 if the app keeps hitting targets. By 2025, they'll only lose $2 billion next year. Temu's revenue figures are also on track to double the predictions made by the retailer in January. So how exactly did the Chinese app do? Okay, meteoric rise because of cheap shit. There is top app for most of 2023. It just hit number one and stayed there. They bought a bunch of it also. Temu's cheap prices are also cost consumers. Unfortunately, it's average consumers looking for bargain clothes. Home essentials are losing out. Yeah, because they're fucking they're selling you shit. It's shit. Shit. This shit isn't worth shit. Anybody caught on the street with this shit would get killed. So just for the record, yeah, do not just stay away from Temu. Buy real shit. You don't need more plastic garbage that's going to break quickly. There's plenty of that already here. And don't use TikTok. I think I almost made our dear friend Tara Dublin recognize the dangers of TikTok this morning. I got close, but I'm not there yet. Now, let's see. Where's the next one? Okay, we got that guy. We'll get Will Johnson's out of the way. We're going to find out his call-in number. Then we got this. And then, let's see. This is, all right. I don't know if you know this, but I'm pretty sure OAN, so this is, okay, for those of you that haven't been following along, in the tier of right-wing media, there's Fox, and then there's a huge cliff to Newsmax. And then after you fall off the huge cliff and hit Newsmax, you basically tumble down a hillside of RSBN, RAV, and OAN, and then you fall off an even further cliff and you end up on Flashpoint, the Kenneth Copeland religious network. It's like you're already dead at that point. It's essentially hell. And but OAN in all these, interestingly enough, we almost give them a pass sometimes because I swear to God, it looks like it's done out of a high school. This young lady, Kara McKinney, has a show called Tipping Point, because tipping point, breaking point, turning point, it's all about the point. What's your point? I don't know. But in this, this is a video called "I Never Thought I Would Live to See This Day." So obviously it's a tipping point for her. So things are, coming together. Yes, and her name is pronounced McKinney, not McKindy. Just say it. So, it's not McKidney. It's McKinney. Just straighten it out. All right. Now, here we go. Oh, boy. Here it is. I never thought I would live to see this day. Are you there, God? It's me, Kara McKinney.
Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Kara McKinney. I never thought I would feel jealous of El Salvador. Nayib Bukele just won another 5 years as president in a land...
And I didn't realize that the new president of El Salvador was an indie musician or a DJ.
Slide victory, with members of his party New Ideas also winning most of the government's legislative seats.
Well, I think it sounds fabulous. Look at those lovely buildings. We don't have any buildings in our capital that look like that. Must be our lack of Greek heritage or Roman heritage in in our legal system and how it was. Anyways.
How people like not being extorted by gangs to keep their businesses running. They like letting their kids be able to play outside without fear of stray bullets.
Yeah, they're not there yet. But, and also, do you not let your kids play outside? Wait a minute, sorry. Do you not play outside?
And they like having a homicide rate plunge from 51 per 100,000 citizens to just 3, all by locking up gang members. I mean, imagine that. Like,
well, yeah, obviously they're not counting their domestic violence numbers or any of that other stuff, which is good for them. I'm glad they're doing it. Let's see.
I've said before, decline is a choice. We don't have to let criminals run the streets. It's not as complicated as NGO hucksters and politicians paid to say as much would try and have you believe.
No,
After
not
his
at all.
victory, Bukele and his wife appeared on the balcony of the National Palace to give all glory to God for their win. Listen.
Y ahora que nos vieron hacer un milagro, que la verdad hay que darle la gloria a Dios.
At the Palacio Nacional. Apparently, those are God's horns honking. 7 horns are honking. All right.
Porque ¿qué somos nosotros? Si no herramientas todos.
We're all the tools of God. All right, this sounds like something that Joel Osteen would say.
De Dios. Dios quiso sanar nuestro país y lo sanó. A través de un pueblo unido que decidió dejar el pasado atrás y decidió tomar las riendas de su propio destino.
Also, you guys do realize bagpipes have more than one note. I'm just saying.
Veo los titulares. Bukele menciona a Dios y el país debe ser laico. Es que hasta eso nos quieren imponer, que seamos ateos. Nosotros respetamos a todas las religiones, respetamos a los ateos, a los agnósticos, los respetamos y somos sus amigos, pero déjennos creer en Dios.
Yeah, we don't actually have to have that conversation most of the time in the United States, but it's nice that they're doing that, I guess.
Y déjenos darle la gloria si así lo queremos. ¿En qué les molesta? ¿En qué les afecta?
Yeah, que les afecta. Es que les molesta. What's the problem? Why would you molest God like that?
Tal vez les afecta el ejemplo, porque tal vez las poblaciones de sus países a las que les han metido el ateísmo empiecen también o vuelvan a creer en Dios.
Now, if you try and read about his victory in Western media, you'll see words like unconstitutional thrown around. They'll try and...
Really? Oh, hold on. Hold on. Let me see if I can... Let's... I'm gonna... Are they throwing it around or are they using it in sentences? I'm kidding about the bagpipes. Those are just air horns. Yeah. Let's see. Go to Bukele. I'm looking up the thing right here. And then we'll go over here to news about Bukele. And let's see what the... They go to... Let's grab this right here. Get back here, you silly. Get into the news. So here's what I see when I call up the news on here. El País in English says Nayib Bukele's hidden cabinet, the shadowy group of Venezuelans who are in it. What Bukele's rise means for the region after Nayib Bukele's what? Crushing unconstitutional victory. What next? Okay, this is The Economist. Okay, this is the one they're talking about. You'll hear words like unconstitutional thrown around. Okay. El Salvador's philosopher king is already hinting at a third term. He reacted to the re-election victory on February 4th with his usual understatement before any official results were announced. Nayib Bukele claimed to have won at least 85% of the vote in a speech from the presidential palace. He calls the record for the entire democracy history of the world. Bukele indeed won with a landslide with 70% of the votes tallied. He had 83%. His party, New Ideas, has probably won a majority in the slimmed-down national legislature too, though perhaps not to the degree he claims. A problem with the electronic system. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then what's this? He's going to address CPAC. I don't know if they didn't. I don't see unconstitutional thrown around in that one, would he? Okay. Bukele, Bukele, fact-checked rumors. Nayib Bukele. This is Snopes. Re-elected claims 80% of the vote. Here's the truth. Okay. False. On the 2024 provisional results show the electoral everybody gets El Salvador's in the hours leading up to the results being released. He said 87%, and he posted this thing as the vote. He probably got 87% of his party or something like that is the thing. Only 70% of votes have been counted and processed according to what he said. Reason for meanwhile projected to a win of 68.4%. So not 87%, but 68.4%, which rounds up and down both at the same time to 87. When he says a tragic repetition of its history where state violence is gradually replacing gang violence, leaving the same vulnerable communities trapped in an endless cycle of abuse and despair. Director of Amnesty International wrote in Bukele had at least 83% of the vote, with just over 70% of the vote. Okay, that's false. Okay. Yeah, the back and forth about this is that Bukele's big thing is his like rounding gang people up and they're all hold on, I'll show you. Yeah. So he declared, quote unquote, a war on crime. This is the first group of hold on, let me put this in here. Thousands of tattooed inmates pictured in El Salvador's mega prison. This is the thing. This is these guys. They built a jail that's going to hold 40,000 people. There's a difference between sort of like gangs in the United States and how they run, and then the narco gangs in South America specifically, because they are effectively nation states in and of themselves. So when you're locking guys like this up, it is a lot more like political prisoners without an ideology, that they are that these guys are effectively there to take over the fucking country and run it through graft. But all these dudes, you're talking about tens of thousands of these dudes who have like face tattoos and they've got their death count tattooed on their arm or their face or their chest. Like they look at these dudes. They've all got like tattoos on their heads of which gang they're part of and stuff. These are effectively like, these guys have checked out of average society. This is when we think of like gang violence in the United States, even like gang members in the United States, like, I'm not gonna fuck up my face that way. What am I, Post Malone, right? Yeah. So they're rounding up a bunch of these dudes. Look at them. Look how many of them there are. But understand that, like, imagine being in a societal situation, and I'm not excusing this part of it. I'm just trying to like picture this. 64,000 suspects have been arrested in the anti-crime drive. And it's like all of them have head tattoos. It's amazing. But imagine living in a society where you have huge gangs of these dudes running around and they all have like they're like Yakuza level tattooing that tells a story of who they've killed and what they've done and stuff. This is not the same thing that we go through, and we have a tendency to kind of overlay our situation or gang violence, like teenagers being pulled up into gang violence and the prison, the school to prison pipeline and all that kind of shit. This is not the same thing. This is also this is part of the Bitcoin thing as well, because that drove the elevation of all these things. So it's not surprising that the reaction to it has been so extraordinary because of the circumstance, right? I would like to remind you that this young lady thinks that the people who attacked the Capitol on January 6th are political prisoners, are hostages. So, I guess so. If just so you know, if somebody like Bukele was in charge on and the alternate party, if he was in Biden's position and the alternate party that he had just beaten an election had sent their people to the fucking Capitol, they'd all be lined up in. Like the Jan Sixers would be lined up in rows like this. And they'd all have a new tattoo that said "fuck Ashley Babbitt" on the back of their neck. So let's understand the hypocrisy of what she's talking about.
It's scary to say that when he first took office, he would appear at the Legislative Assembly backed by rifle-toting soldiers. What they don't tell you is that El Salvador was incredibly dangerous at the time. That those
Yeah, they do.
In power always circumvented the Constitution. How else are you going to play?
Also, the interesting thing. Well, let's hold on. I am 1776. Bukele's War for Peace. How El Salvador fought the gangs won. Okay, whatever. Let's look at this NPR article. They cut this piece out. NPR could be a little soft in the water about these things, but that doesn't necessarily mean they are. NPR troops occupy. Because we always love that third paragraph, don't we, kids? El Salvador's legislature. Okay, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Okay. This is that article. I'll bring this down for you. Troops occupy El Salvador's legislature to back president's crime package. Police and armed soldiers carrying rifles dressed in battle fatigues enter the parliament building to show support for him his $109 million loan plan to better equip them. Heavily armed police and soldiers in El Salvador briefly occupied the country's parliament building on Sunday in a literal show of force supporting legislature to better equip them. The armed forces and national civil police troops carrying rifles and dressed in battle fatigues and tactical gear entered the building after President Nayib Bukele failed to push through an approval of a $109 million equipment loan. The loan is part of Bukele's broader multi-phase territorial control plan to crack down on El Salvador's rampant gang problem. The loan is, I don't know, I think even NPR saying rampant gang problem. All right. The loan is meant to buy police vehicles, uniforms, video surveillance equipment, and a helicopter. The move by the soldiers ordered by Bukele drew condemnation from the opposition, which controls the Legislative Assembly. They labeled it an act of intimidation, accused the president of acting like a dictator, but they were able to vote against it. This is the weird part. Even if he was trying to, they still voted against it. Oh, the audio's too loud? My audio's too loud, or their audio's too loud? Sorry. Maybe so. Okay. Are you coming in, or some people are just joining joining me live now. By the way, hit the like, share the show, let people know we're here. Earlier, Bukele had issued a call for supporters to descend on the Legislative Assembly to force passage of the loan. Thousands responded in a speech addressing it outside the building. The charismatic 38-year-old former mayor of San Salvador, who assumed the presidency in June, threatened to have opposition lawmakers forcibly removed from the chamber. That would be the unconstitutional part. If we want to press the button, we would press the button. Oh, if we wanted to press the button, we would press the button and remove lawmakers from the legislature, he told them. But I asked God, and God told me, patience, patience, patience. On February 28, 2021, all these scoundrels are heading out the door, he said, referring to the next parliamentary elections. If these scoundrels do not approve the loan for the territorial control plan, we will summon them here on Sunday, setting a week deadline. The showdown came after the majority of members of parliament opted to sit out debate on the loan plan, leaving the voting body without a quorum. The opposition right-wing Arena and leftist FMLN parties said they want more details on the spending plan before a vote. Human Rights Watch called the move by the security force an exhibition of brute force. Again, I get what they're saying, because it's anytime dudes show up in armor like this, it's going to be scary. But the point is, they're not going to fucking drum these guys out. What they're saying is, you're leaving, like the cops are showing up going, you're leaving us to get killed. The police, seriously, the police in areas like that, police have a rough job anyways. But in countries like El Salvador, fucking hell. Hold on. Now, here's a Washington Post article in 2019. It's so dangerous to police MS-13 in El Salvador that officers are fleeing the country. They were given one of the most dangerous tasks in police: take down MS-13. They were bankrolled by the United States, trained by FBI agents, but members of the Salvadoran police have been killed by the dozens in each of the past 3 years, most in attacks that investigators and experts blame on MS-13 and an international street gang. At least 9 officers were killed in the first month of this year. Now a number of El Salvador's police officers are fleeing the gang they were tasked with eliminating. There is no list in either El Salvador or the United States of Salvadoran police officers who have fled the country, but the Washington Post has identified 15 officers in the process of being resettled as refugees by the United Nations, and 6 officers who have either recently received asylum or have scheduled asylum hearings in U.S. immigration courts. In WhatsApp groups, police officers have begun discussing the possibility of a migrant caravan composed entirely of Salvadoran police. A caravana policial, the officers called it. The exodus of Salvadoran police points to how the country's security forces have failed to break the stranglehold of organized crime. It also shows that among those seeking refuge in the United States during the Trump administration, some of America's closest security partners. These are among the most vulnerable people in El Salvador, said Julio Buendia, the director of migration of Caritas El Salvador, a nonprofit organization that works with the United States and the United Nations on refugee resettlement. Yeah. And again, here's the problem I have with shitting on cops in general. We've talked about this a bunch, but especially in countries like this where they're talking about this, is what we do is we cede the argument to people like this dipshit on OAN, who doesn't give a rat fuck about brown people south of the border. Let's be honest. The only reason she likes this is because she can use it as a dunking point that this heavy on crime guy is also claiming God has his back. And the reason that they can use these two talking points to manipulate other people is because we as good people have ceded those fucking points to that side. We have ceded the caring nature of religion and God and all that kind of stuff to the right wing and gone, we want nothing to do with it. Fill your boots, have fun, and use it to your heart's delight. And we don't give a fuck what happens to cops. So when this kind of shit happens and these guys have to be resettled as refugees in the United States of America, you've got Americans who are probably turning to the person right next to them going, fuck the police or ACAB or any of that kind of shit, not realizing that these guys are resettled in the United States as immigrants. A person who's resettled in the United States as a refugee running from drug gangs in South America because the police are so outmatched. Okay, there endeth the lesson. Anyways, back to the high school program.
Toting soldiers. What they don't tell you is that El Salvador was in 2019. The Supreme Electoral Tribunal worked hand in fist with the two old parties which control everything in El Salvador to block Bukele and his new party from running. After catching wind of this trick, Bukele quickly changed his affiliation to that of a small center-left party. But then the same thing happened. That party was also ruled ineligible by the tribunal. But they waited to deliberate until the final hours that a candidate has to register. And when they made their decision, they planned to wait until the next day to announce it so that Bukele couldn't switch party affiliation once again. Thankfully, an insider told him what was happening, so he switched parties again to that of a small center-right party. As the magazine's commissioning editor argues, the international media and NGOs who claim President Bukele is a threat to democracy in El Salvador had nothing to say in 2019 when the tribunal colluded to illegally subvert democracy by blocking Bukele's candidacy for the presidency. Joining us now to discuss all this and more is former law enforcement officer Mike Pugliese, the founder of the Pugliese Law Firm. Mike, thanks for being here tonight.
Yes, you're El Salvadoran. You speak Spanish and Portuguese, and obviously have none of those things. All right.
Kara, thank you for having me. Yeah, he did remarkable reforms right when he took office, and you're right. I'm familiar with El Salvador, and it was.
Well, that's good. I'm glad they're having him on. He's familiar, guys. Relax, okay? He's familiar with El Salvador. He's heard of it.
You were scared just to land your plane there and go in there without having some type of bodyguard waiting for you to take you into San Salvador. But I've talked to friends down there now, and it's 180 degrees difference. And one of the things he did was he implicated a territorial control plan and actually got President Trump on board with this plan to basically target the high crime areas. And one of the notorious criminal gangs was the MS-13 gang, which we're familiar with.
Which, by the way, for the record, was by no means the dominant gang down there until Trump decided their name sounded cool. Let's be abundantly clear. MS-13 was not, it had nowhere near the nationwide or international cred that it got from Donald Trump. He liked the sound of it. He heard a couple stories and just started playing them up. And MS-13, parlayed that notorious background story that Trump had given them into more control of El Salvador. For real. They became a much bigger gang. Right, sounds like equals like MC8, exactly. Trump, it was easy for him to say. There's a bunch of, by the way, there's a bunch of South American gangs that are, that are like, hold on, I'll bring up a couple. Hold on. There's the Revolutionaires and the Barrio 18, which doesn't sound anywhere near as cool as MS 13. Let's see. Salvador Crackdown. Excepción and the Guerras contra las Pedillas. I'm going to try and find the. Hold on. Crime in El Salvador. President 65 guys, 43 Snow Gang. Maras, the Salvadoran, Mara Salvatrucha, which is what they call MS-13, and the rivals 18th Street, which doesn't sound, you can't make that sound out. It sounds like a town in the United States. Hold on, we'll go down here. This is try El Salvador homicides. This is the gangs. Yeah. 18th Street Gang, which is Mara 18, which is was formed in 1960s by a Mexican-American youth gang in the Rampart neighborhood in Los Angeles. MS-13 and Mara 18 both formed in Los Angeles. Both the biggest gangs in El Salvador started in Los Angeles. Curiously, around a time when crack and things. Anyways, the Mara Salvatrucha is another rival gang. But imagine Trump saying Mara 18 or Mara Salvatrucha, right? Of course not. MS-13, he could say that one. That's why. Mara 18 is bigger, but MS-13 sounds, it's easier for him to pronounce. Let's see, the other one, Super Mano Dura, which is the program that they shut them down with. And then the, cartels. Yeah. How many people have been around there? Yeah, it's mainly more about the gangs. Let's see, Officer decimated its ruthless gangs, but what cost? That's the last year. Yeah. Here, I'll show you. This is the curious. Yeah, I'll find it. Let's see. Yeah, this is how most of the stuff is being addressed down there. The drop in crime in El Salvador is stunning, but it has a dark side. This is recent. This is Will Freeman and Lucas Parello. Freeman is a fellow for Latin American Studies at the Council on Foreign Relations. Parello is an assistant professor of political science at Marist College. Marist College, they reported in El Salvador before and during the election. Okay, cool. So we gave their tough on crime president a sweeping mandate, keep going, but the votes are still being counted. Claims he won a re-election by a landslide with more than 85% of the vote. Again, these days it's all about sales, so he got about 68%. Still nothing to sneeze at. Bukele's unparalleled rise comes down to a single factor. El Salvador's stunning crime drop. Since he took office in 2019, intentional homicide rates, were they still running, still killing people in drunk driving accidents? Vehicular homicides down, or still up, whatever, have decreased from 38 per 100,000 in that year to 7.8 in 2022, well below the Latin American average of 16.4 for the same year. By the way, the United States, I'm fairly certain ours is, let's see, 6.3. The United States is 6.3 per 100. So he's in our ballpark. Crackdown, Mr. Bukele has led on organized crime as well, but dismantled the infamous street gangs that terrorized the population for decades, but also exacted a tremendous price on Salvadorans' human rights, civil liberties, and democracy. Since March 2022, when Mr. Bukele declared a state of emergency that suspended basic civil liberties, security forces have locked up roughly 75,000 people. A staggering 1 in 45 adults is now in prison. Other leaders in the neighborhood are taking notice. They have debated adopting the same drastic measures, but even if they wanted to make the trade-off that Mr. Bukele's government has, making streets safer through methods that are blatantly at odds with democracy, they aren't likely to succeed. The conditions that enabled Bukele's success and political stardom are unique to El Salvador and can't be exported. Don't count on it. Let's just, yeah, it wasn't intentional homicide. It was assisted suicide, Your Honor. Yeah. My boss had an accident. He fell on a knife 4 times. These things do happen. It's a jungle out there. Walking the streets of the capital, San Salvador, in the days before the election, we saw firsthand how families with children had returned to parks. People can now cross formerly impassable gang-controlled borders between neighborhoods. The city center, which for years was largely empty by sunset, is now lively late into the night. Now, can I, for my dear friends at Human Rights Watch and elsewhere, it's very weird to me that you would make the case about this dude rounding up people who are part of these gangs, and he's definitely coming heavy-handed. And at some point, this will level out. It won't be as necessary. But they had obviously an emergency there. And the reporters who are talking about this even know this. What's weird to me is making the streets safer through methods that are blatantly at odds with democracy is the phrase right here. That's what sticks out to me. Couple of reasons. One is he was voted in to do it. So obviously it isn't. And he ran center left and they bounced him center right. So policy-wise, besides all this, he seems to be leaning a lot more towards left of center policy-wise, except for this one emergency that they're dealing with, right? Making the streets safer through methods that are blatantly at odds with democracy. Well, clearly not, because the people thought they were in an emergency and voted, by a huge margin, even not his exaggerated margin, for him. Okay, if there's any suggestion, that this was a stolen election or that he manipulated it, love to fucking hear it. But that said, obviously not at odds with democracy if they voted him in to do this very thing. Secondly, why isn't there a conversation about the fact that the gang control of all these places is at odds with democracy? That the gang-related violence itself throughout El Salvador that had been controlling this country for so long isn't blatantly at odds with democracy. They didn't vote these gangs in, and if you have to ask permission to cross a park or you'll get fucking killed, obviously you're not voting for people to assure that. They're just not capable of doing anything about it. And at a certain point, if somebody's willing to get murdered, because that's what most of the time happens in countries where they're trying to make this kind of shift, the dude usually gets killed by the gangs he's rounding up. Why does nobody address the fact that these countries, that the gang activity and the drug activity is at odds with democracy? The other thing, too, that's what I've been saying, end the war on drugs, solve the immigration problem. That won't do it, Groove Dragon. Again, the growth in American drugs has been synthetic anyways. And weed is a cultivation issue now. Well, that's another conversation for another time. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't come here. We're the biggest buyer, but we're not the only buyer. We're just the big single buyer of drugs that come from these countries. Without us, it goes elsewhere. If we stop buying coke, they'll start growing khat. You understand? That's just how it works. The issue here is that the gangs themselves, there's no chance it'll ever be legalized if the gangs run the place because they make too much money on it being illicit. They'll also contribute to its illicit nature in other countries. There is specifically an impetus for drug gangs to make sure that a bunch of people die every year from drug overdoses to keep countries from legalizing it, because it's sort of this trade-off. If it reaches if there are too many overdoses and that kind of stuff, people are like, well, you let more of that shit in, more people are going to overdose, right? And so people are still pushing back on it. They've got as much a reason to put a thumb on the scale of its remaining illegal as they do of it becoming legal and them becoming the business behind it, because that's, they settle in. Ask any of the gentrified mafia people who got into the real linen business after it, right? But again, the democracy in El Salvador has been gutted for decades by gang activity. The government itself, whether through incompetence, fear, or collusion with the gangs itself, haven't made a dent in it, no matter how the people choose to vote, no matter what they're trying to fix. So the idea that they're actually coming to it, is democracy actually at work in that regard? Because again, he won by a landslide and he was scooping these fuckers up, and people are now able to go out at night. And even the people who are like, this is a little rough, isn't it? Like, Jesus Christ, these people couldn't cross the fucking park without fear that their kid would get scooped up or they'd get killed. And I have to say, there's a certain level of like racism in the idea that like democracy isn't the natural state of these South American countries. You know, if you really think about it, they're just kind of crimey and gangy, and that's just how they are. You know, that's in their natural state. If people don't keep trying to force democracy, they just run themselves as a narco state, and that's just, you know, that's how it shakes out. What do you expect from those people? Which is fucking terrible, because you've got the majority of the population who's not able to seek their dreams and do anything good with their fucking lives because they've always got this thumb on their neck from the cartels and the drug gangs. It's fucking sad. And I happen to believe in the average person. And that if they're not under the thumb of these fuckers, yeah. There you go. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hal's explanation of MAGA's argument, it's the same argument. The weird part is that I would argue that these people voted him in, and it's a tough program, and that's exactly what it is. But I would not claim that this is also a mandate for the way I would do things in a civilized country like the United States that is stable for the most part. Because what you do is you move through that period, you stabilize your country, and then you start building on that stability. They're not even able to do that yet. And so they're talking about the extreme tactics of a circumstance. I'll tell you what it's like. You know how sometimes the maggots are like, they want people in Ukraine to have guns, but they don't want you to have a gun. Like, motherfucker, that's a live war zone. Of course I want them to have guns. They're fighting an invading force. You're just going to the fucking mall. Stop it. You can't keep solving 21st century problems with 18th century tools. Yes, MAGA does argue that the U.S. is not stable, but that's because they have to, because complexity scares them, because the challenges to them are social, intellectual, philosophical, and spiritual, and it's too difficult to wrestle with. They'd much rather it just be something they could solve with crayons and hammers. Yeah. So the idea that they're solving this and that he's saying, you know, we believe in God and we accept atheists and stuff, but maybe people should, that's just where he's coming from. Part of the reason for that is because he's motivating a populace that's dealing with a murder rate that is fucking unfathomable, even at the peak of it in the United States. Think of how people are acting right now about the murder rate and how the political discussion about our murder rate in the United States is right now. And we're at 6.8 per 100%, per 100,000. And by the way, I'm wrong about this, about Bukele. You're missing my point. I'm not justifying what Bukele is doing. I'm talking about her taking his argument in an emergency and how he might be acting or who they might elect in a circumstance that is off the charts from our expectation, and her trying to overlay what he's doing onto the American system as if there's any fit whatsoever. She's trying to hijack this, like, that's what we need to do. We need 40,000 prisons and just chuck people in there. And we need, you know, a president who will go, it doesn't mind the atheists, but everyone worships God. She wants the solution that they are having in a situation that is on its fucking heels, or has been for fucking decades, at the tipping point of collapse. And she wants to take their solutions and put it on the United States, a place where she can walk to a fucking Starbucks from her fucking car without being abducted and sold in fucking Brazil. Right? That's the thing. That's my issue. Is that they look to things like this and you go, see, look how extreme things were, and look at the huge drop off, and look how, it's you're comparing apples to cats. It doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. And what they're trying to do is usurp this extremity and overlay it onto our society, which has more complex issues, and pretend like it's that simple. Okay. You get my point? Okay.
Here in the United States, that's what is taking over our areas down here through the open border.
See? What'd I tell you?
Down in Texas. And
no, they aren't.
But he stopped that. He focused with all his police and military strength on these gangs and these gang activities to bring it to a halt. And he was
right. Listen to these assholes. These motherfuckers think this is what the border looks like. Seriously. They also think we're letting everybody through. And that that even the women and children look like this. I'm serious. It's like if you had a country that was hit by a fucking earthquake and a hurricane at the same time, and everybody was talking down there about we need a huge loan from the IMF to reinforce our foundations and rebuild our roofs, and everybody up here who has a crack in their floor and has had a leak a couple of years when it rains a little too much goes, that's what we need. We need $178 billion from the IMF as a loan to fix my roof and my cracked floor, even though it's not anywhere comparable to collapsing buildings, right? That's the point. They want you to think that that's where we're on the edge of that. Otherwise, their solutions don't fucking work. They're too boring. They're too normal. That's one of the things I like about Biden. He's back to the boring aspect of government. Just fucking handle shit like a normal person. It's tough enough. We don't need somebody who every chance they get puts their oars in the water and rows the fucking other direction. Like, asshole, we've got enough tide going that way. We've got enough current going that way. We don't need any help from you.
Accused, and you're showing the picture right there. He was accused of showing some type of leniency towards these gang members, and he purposely put out videos of how he had imprisoned these cartel members and these gang members, that they were kept in cramped quarters and pretty close. They weren't given any type of conditions that you could consider somewhat of an appeasement to their criminal activity. But he stopped that.
I don't even know what the fuck. That wasn't even a fucking sentence. Yeah, she just ditches out on that. Like, and again, what this guy's like, I'm familiar with El Salvador. And what was his conversation? What did he ultimately say? Yeah, they accused him of being too nice on these gangs, so he put out videos of this shit. No, he didn't. They were running those since the very fucking beginning, you lunatic. And again, this whole video in the beginning, just to remind you, is that OAN and this host in particular, although I think it's kind of consistent through the whole thing, was trying to like wrestle the religious aspect of a Catholic country in South America that is a huge part of the culture down there, where are they secular? Technically, absolutely. But South American countries especially are largely Catholic all over like, we know this. That is the biggest religion down there. And so there is no politician that doesn't get there without at least giving lip service to the idea, much less actually being, well steeped in it. So of course that's a huge part of it. What does that have to do with the United States and the issues we're dealing with our border and that kind of stuff? Fucking nothing. But what she's trying to do is going, that's what we need. We need a guy who will round up people. It's like it's the same thing with Trump and his fucking quick trial bullshit, right? That's what we need. We need quick trial. We need quick trial. Shut the fuck up. No, we don't. They might, because they're kind of fucked. Their country's in bad shape. They are dealing with an emergency. You don't deal with fucking these assholes. To the Republicans, everything's a fucking hurricane, and it's just, even when it's drizzling outside. Like, dude, when it's sunny out, these motherfuckers are like, look outside. Everything Trump says these days, the country's falling apart. Our country is in hell. It's just hell. Everything is hell. There's paper and cans and the street and the barriers in D.C. between. So there's swastikas all over the columns as if they're fucking etched in the stone. Because he saw one fucking video once of somebody had sprayed something on there and then they cleaned it off, and he's like, it's still there. It's gotta be still there. I can still see the video on my phone. You're like, motherfucker, it's not a live video shot, you tit. That's the point. The point of that video overall, for me anyways, is the fact that Republicans are invested in the country being hell and being shitty, and why they will seek solutions that are off the charts because they built up the threat so big in their fucking head, right? How can you do a segment about fear centers in the human brain? Sure. I mean, I do think we react more to it than we admit, because there's adrenaline is the poor man's dopamine, and I think a lot of people, when they see something scary, it's why people watch as much true crime, right? That's what the true crime fetish is all about, and I'll totally cop to that. I watch it, my girlfriend and I watch a bunch of true crime stuff, and we have, especially during lockdown. Jesus Christ! But at no point did I at some point. So at certain points, you would see something in one of these shows about how they broke into a house or what they did, or how these murders worked, and it makes you go, oh yeah, I probably should make sure that that's locked or whatever. Simple change, but it's not because I go to the door every night and go, oh dear God, there's one of them out there. I know it. What's that car doing? I'm not living like that. I'm just going, oh yeah, that'd be a smart thing. I'll tell you an example. So, I believe in situational awareness and always. I have a no-look plan for everything that I do. So everything that I do, if I can do it without looking, whatever point I can get to the point where I don't have to look. Like when you're walking up to your car with your key and it automatically opens. You know where the door handle is and you know about the height it is. And if you miss, bringing your hand up or a little bit down to find it is not something you have to look at. Even if you have to feel around for it, it's not a big deal. Yeah, like typing. But there's so many things in your life you can do. And this is left over because my cousin's a marshal and my uncle's FBI. And the FBI always used to have this phrase that most people meet their serial killer halfway. That if they talk to serial killers, they eliminate a bunch of people that they were going to snatch. They might have had a target on this person, like, oh, that person fits the bill. But that person was too situationally aware. They didn't do the right things. They didn't make enough of the same mistakes that everybody else makes to set them up. So they effectively, went too much trouble, right? And one of them was that the person's always looking around, right? So when one of the things you can always do is anything that you're doing, anything that especially if you're in a parking lot or you're getting in and out of your car or whatever, just recognize that you put your key in your ignition or you start your car up, you look, but you don't have to. So much of it is so muscle memory. You'd be surprised how much stuff you can do without looking. It's like putting like doing a zipper. Like can you look at a zipper and do it? Absolutely, right? But I can hook it right there. It's a bad zipper because it's cheap. But you don't have to look, right? It's the same thing. So all those things that you do that are muscle memory or that you do all the time, you don't have to look. And therefore, there's a dual benefit to this. One, you can be more aware of your surroundings when you're out and about. The other thing is you can take in more of the world. You don't have to do it out of fear. My fly is down. No, it isn't, because that I can check without looking. You know why? Because I'm a boy. But you get my point? Not only are you more situationally aware, and you can, if there is trouble, your eyes are up and you're looking around. So if something's bad, you'll notice people coming and doing stuff. But also, you just get to see more of the world that way. You're just not like in your own little fucking blindered experience. It's always better, right? Kath says she's always situationally aware. Yes, chat room, what's your situational awareness like? Because this is also something I teach my son and my son's friends when I'm around them, whatever. And it's something I've certainly picked up from my cousin because of what he's been through. And like, again, he's a marshal. The shit he's seen, guys, the shit he has seen, oof. Just having that can make the whole difference. And somebody choosing to make you a victim in a certain circumstance, the idea that you're actually looking around when you're getting in your car or whatever is enough for them to go, not that person, too much trouble. Every time. And so knowing that, just having that, and being, just raising your situational awareness, again, it's twofold benefit. One, it makes you safer because the opportunistic criminals around you will exclude you because you're more trouble than you're worth. The other thing is, you're not just staring down the barrel of your life. You're taking in the rest of the world around you. So you're not looking for bad things. You're taking in every aspect of the world around you. Yeah. One hand in your pocket is not a bad idea too. Yeah, because they don't know what you got there. That is absolutely true. And again, I have non-lethal means of self-protection that I carry with me at all times. Especially when I'm on the road. Here, I'll show you. I've shown you guys this before. This is my Berna. This is like the barrel's really huge, but it shoots pepper balls essentially. It's like a paintball with pepper spray in it, and it's got a decent range, so you don't have to be anywhere near someone. This one actually has laser on it, which is really just to scare people. Yes, it does parallel, sorry. But I travel a lot, and you can't, you can bring it anywhere because legally it's not the same as traveling with a gun. So, and you don't have to kill anybody. I'm not going to kill anybody. I don't want to kill anybody. And if I do kill somebody, I'm going to do it by hand. Just saying. It would have to be that bad. I have no interest in, I'm not going to stab anybody. I'm not going to shoot somebody from a distance. If it requires me to get rid of them, I will get rid of them myself. And so anyways, point being is that having that and having awareness, that's how you make sure none of that shit ever happens. Yes, it shoots pepper balls. It shoots, here, I'll show you. These things right here, these are full of, basically dried pepper spray. Like, and these actually, the tear gas ones, they're heavier. So, yeah. And they'll shoot about like two magazines, which is about 14 shots of these things before it's a problem, and everybody will be throwing up, and you don't have to kill anybody. But that's the thing. Aren't you some kind of karate expert, House Sparks? Yes. That said, the point I'm trying to make is that situational awareness that you could possibly have. We can end on this tonight because I think it's a good little lesson for the road. Is the way you eliminate the problem in the first place by not being myopic in your life, but also taking in more of life around you. And if you can get my goal as a guitar player has been to be a no-look guitar player for a long time, and it's very difficult because when you're first starting, you're staring at your fingertips and stuff. And the idea is that eventually you move ahead where you can find it without, you don't want to look at it. And this is where I find inspiration for real in blind performers. So when I lived in Toronto, story time, kids, just for a second. When I lived in Toronto, God bless that city, just super good. I have so many lovely memories there. But I lived around the corner from Jeff Healey's club. It was just like a short walk from my house, even in the shitty snow and wind that was Toronto half the time. It was right there. And he would come down and play all the time. And if you don't know who Jeff Healey is, he passed away, rest his soul, but he was a blues player. He was blind. He was in the movie Roadhouse. He's the player in Roadhouse. And he played with the guitar was on his lap like this, and he would play it with his left hand like that. Just fucking amazing. Just an incredible player, beautiful voice. Played it almost like a lap steel, but it wasn't. It was just a regular guitar. He was an incredible player. And the same thing with Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles as piano players. They never got a chance to look at it. It's one thing to know people who get there because they play and then eventually they don't have to. They never even got the fucking chance. And they're not genetically superior to you and I. It just meant more to them to learn that, right? Right? That's the important thing. And so what you could take away from that is, and again, talent is just falling in love with something before somebody else does. That's all it is. Saw Healy from the front row. He was amazing. Yeah, he had a little club, little tiny, like this little place. The ceiling was so low, he had to when they brought him down the stairs, he had to bend his neck to go by. I watched him walk him in. But he was so fucking good. They worked very hard. That's absolutely true. And when people write something off as sort of some kind of talent that's magical, it's kind of insulting to how much time they put into it. You understand what I'm saying? It's insulting to certain artists to go, oh, you're just really good at it. You're blessed. That's why I always fucking hated that when I was growing up in the South. They were always like, you're so blessed. I'm like, not fucking blessed. Unless the problems that came with it were a blessing as well, and getting through those were a blessing, and fucking around and finding out a bunch of times, and then trying to get it right, and then almost losing my singing voice 3 times, and then getting my shit together and practicing. And so, is that the blessing, or is that just going through it? And what I'm saying is that everybody can go through it. If Jeff Healey can sit down and learn to play guitar like he did, you can open your car without looking. You can put your bags in the trunk or whatever with your eyes up and around when you're getting into your car. Or you can do things. I guarantee Don't try it. You'll hurt yourself or whatever, unless you do the balloon hands, which is the way you test yourself. You put your hands out like this, and you can walk with your eyes closed across a room in a house. I've been doing this my whole life. But like, what you do is you use guides along it, just the edge of your fingers as you're walking along something, and you know where something generally is, so you put your hand up so you bump into it, and that's how you find it or whatever. And eventually, you kind of know the room from sight. You can kind of get around it with your eyes closed. If you can do a little bit of that, then you could certainly do it with your eyes open, looking at something else. That's what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense? It's a little bit of a rant, a little bit of a ramble, but important, right? Because I think it's crucial that people recognize that one of the ways we lighten the load on our healthcare system so that the people who really need help get it is to not need it ourselves as much as possible. Steer ourselves away from lifestyle illnesses as best we can. Not everybody can hide from all of it, but you can hide from some of it. And the best you can do to keep yourself healthy means you're not clogging up the system if they need a gurney for somebody who's just been in a car accident. Right? That's why you don't drink and drive. That's why you don't do all those kind of things, so you don't end up, not just for your own self and your own safety and who you might affect, but also the cascading aspect of what you do with your fucking life. You take up space. And life is not a zero-sum game. There's finite resources out there, and I don't want a doctor working on me that doesn't have to if they could work on somebody else and save their life that really needs them at that moment. You get it? Okay, so that's the health part of it. The other area is the crime one. If you keep yourself from being a victim, this fucker's got to find something else to do. You'd probably be the best 8th grade teacher in the world. I would, but I would just swear too much. I would get fired for swearing. Yeah. So anyways, I love you guys. I like having these conversations. That's why I have the morning show. So we can have those kind of conversations and, explore things a little bit better. So don't need meds. Great. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, keep your head on swivel. There's no shame in it. And again, what's the worst thing that happens? You send a criminal home frustrated that they weren't able to find a victim that night. Maybe that's the night they change their mind. Maybe it's too much hassle. Maybe people are getting wise. But if anybody who's ever, and I'm sure there's somebody in the chat who's been in some shit. I've been in some shit. There are certainly a couple people out there who've been in some shit that was real ugly, real fast. And having that, we all have that pack we carry on our back that's full of stones, bad memories and bad experiences and stuff that we can, we try to shed, but they're there, right? And some of us have these big, heavy stones that were thrown in our pack that we carry around with us all the time that inform everything that we do. And one of the things that you learn, if you learn your lesson from those things, is not just all the elements that got you that stone in your pack, but how not to set yourself up for other ones without taking the spring out of your step, because there's nothing like a stone that never existed. That's what worry is. Worry is weaponized imagination. All right, now it's going to turn into now I really am going to become the Reverend Gene Scott. Now I really am going to sit there like Alan Watts. My Alan Watts days are ahead of me. Okay, one of these days I'll get a lifeboat, or a lifeboat, a houseboat with a lifeboat, obviously, in case you guys get too crazy and I can fuck off. Like a houseboat where everybody just comes and they all gather on the shore and I tell little semi-Buddhist stories and that kind of stuff, and we'll do that one day. But for now, it's just me and the fucking internet, you guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 3:00 with as I hopefully help you guys no look a lot of this stuff. Hashtag no look. That you guys, when an argument comes up about the politics that we discuss here or whatever, you guys can no look it. You can answer it. Doesn't even require you to look it up. You don't have to. Other people are like, I know there's a stat. Eventually, I know a bunch of us already on a bunch of these talking points can no look them already. But to be that person who doesn't have to go to their phone to no look win this, an argument from the right especially, I think would be a great thing. So Maybe, that's that hashtag no look. That'll be one of our things, right? From now on. Yeah. Reject no look because I love the chat. Well, you see, the thing is, you don't no look your conversations or your reactions with other people. Just not your habitual things that you can do all the time without looking. That's what we're talking about. Because what's the point of having a basketball game with friends if you constantly have to look at every dribble, right? That's the point. You might not be able to no look a shot and get a swish on that, but I guarantee you don't have to look at the ball while you're dribbling. And that's the point. You want to get to that point. You want to get to that point with a lot of stuff. So, anyways, again, this has turned into a ramble, but I appreciate you guys putting up with it. I'll check this. Okay, I'll check before we go. Hold on there. Oh, Gonzo, come on, man. Thank you for telling me happy birthday. It's nice to know you're really proud, honored to have you. Thank you, Gonzo. And I'm glad you're a keto guru now. I will have you know that I'm still carnivore, as you know. It's been a good time. It's like super keto, man. And by the way, our bass player that filled in for us just started doing keto, Sean McNabb, and he's enjoying it. Yeah, there we go. When am I going to be in KC? I was about to tell the list of all the dates that are coming. God damn it, for the Sexy Liberal. Then somebody leaked them out, but then I'm like, well, now that they're leaked, I don't know if that means it's okay for us to say it or we still have to wait. But I'm definitely coming to Kansas City for sure with Sexy Liberal and by myself. So yeah, I'm going to start having meetups too. Let's just other hashtag no look. Let me tell you this, a couple things. One is in all the Sexy Liberal shows, I'm going to have a meetup either the day of or the day after for like at a coffee shop or something like that. Okay, we're going to get together at places like that for people who can afford the meet and grope. That's cool, but on top of that, I would love to do that anyways. Either the day of or the day after or the day before, depending on when I'm in. Okay, so that I want to do for sure. The other thing I'm trying to do in a bunch of these things is do a Nerd Halen show as well. So if we can, thank you, Groove Dragon, one love. If we can find a way, I'm going to try and get like Nerd Halen shows in line with these dates. So I gave the dates, even though I did not leak them out, but I did give them to our Nerd Halen booker to see if he can get us like the day before or after in all the towns we're going to be in. You live in Verona, Italy? To me, Corona means Italy. Doing any shows in Cleveland? No, but I'm there quite often because I have family there. So I'll tell you what, if we don't do Cleveland, I will do either a meetup or a stand-up show there this year. We'll make it happen. Cleveland, here I come. God damn it. We'll do no-look classes, and I very well may have this thing with me. I like this thing because it looks like the barrel is so huge because of what comes out of it. It's hilarious. It looks like Deckard's gun in Blade Runner. It's so fucking big. But there you go. Yes, Colorado. Yes, Seattle. Yes, Portland. Hello, Cleveland. Right. Anyways, love you guys. Florida, I don't know. Florida would be me. I don't know if we'll do it. Yeah. I cannot shoot it. It's too loud and it will smoke up the house. My eyes will water and I will throw up. I've breathed it. I know what it does. Yep. Yeah, and Portland, obviously I will be, I think we're doing the Mid-Crater Theater. It will be on fire at the time, but you'll know, it's Fourth Ember from the right is, I think, the entrance. So, if you have it, yeah. So, anyways, much love. All right, I got to go do a thing, and then I got to fix some of the stuff that's broken on this, and then there's always something. Don't forget to hit that like on your way out. Thank you.
Woohoo! Even outside, it's packed.
I like fighting number 2. The press wasn't that long ago. cash. Green, I mean green cash.
Asshole. He can do things with his tongue you wouldn't believe it.
Lumpy pillows, kiss my ass.
Purge the anti-Semitism and pro-terrorism. What you doing?
I agree. I'm a dope.
I don't read, obviously.
I had a beat off.
They said, oh.
Michigan gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang.